Hi everybody. Yesterday we had a really strong Atlantic storm here in Fuerteventura. That meant strong offshore winds, about 35 to 40 knots at Flag Beach. I had an amazing session, and obviously you're going to see some of that footage in this video today. But this is not what the video is about. Yesterday somebody got extremely lucky at Flag Beach, and mainly down to the fact that I went early. So here's the full story. Yesterday, I had closed the shop at around 10:30. The winds were so strong, it kept blowing all the garbage and leaves from the outside into the shop. And after about half an hour of being open, I had enough of that. And I just closed and went to the beach. I went on the water. It was very strong. I was on the upper end of my 9-meter kite. I actually had to depower it a little bit, which I rarely do. It was super fun for me. I was out, and then there was two other kiters out there that I saw. One of which was a girl who didn't have a very high level, and she was out on a, I think, 7.5 meter. As the wind picked up more and more, when it started getting into the 40 knots, even like some gusts over 40 knots, she decided that she wanted to come in. She didn't make it back into the proper launch in front of the center. She decided to come down in closer to the northern side of the beach where the kite zone is. The problem is, yesterday was super low tide in the morning, which means that all the rocks were out, and she decided to come in at the worst possible spot. This would be sort of a little rock enclave, let's call it, sort of a bit of sand that's surrounded by rocks. And obviously with the offshore wind, directly downwind of her were very sharp rocks and over a large distance. So she was there. She didn't know what to do. She really couldn't self-land the kite there. She couldn't walk upwind anymore with the kite. If she would have pulled her safety in that respect, the kite would have crashed on the rocks. But it also, in that situation, you don't know how well a safety works. The safety on her kite at the time, basically a two front line safety, which doesn't completely depower the kite, so she might have still been pulled onto the rocks. So she was in a bit of a bad situation. The thing about low tide at Flag Beach is that no one from the top of the beach, like at the center, can see you. There's actually almost a 4.5 meter drop, and her being quite close in, she wouldn't have been visible from the guys from the center. And the other two guys on the water also didn't have a quite high level, and I'm pretty sure they weren't paying attention to what's happening anyway. I saw her go in there, and then I saw her get stuck in that area, which is not a really good thing. I basically decided to then go straight in, basically dumped my board on the beach, and then ran down to her and then helped her land the kite, which was good. But it got me thinking, what happens if I wouldn't have been there? I am not really sure that the other two guys that were on the water at the time could have handled landing her kite while flying theirs. I had enough trouble on my own controlling everything. And yeah, what if even if those guys would have come down, if it would have taken them longer, might she have tried to self-land her kite? Might she have tried to release? It's just she could have ended up in a really bad situation. So it was actually quite lucky that I was there. So the fact that I decided to close the shop early because the wind and all the garbage blowing into my shop was too much of a hassle ended up being quite lucky for her, that she could get out of that situation without a major disaster. So yeah, it sort of makes me think a little bit, maybe there are sort of higher powers looking out for people sometimes. What do you think? Dump it down in the comments below. Just remember to keep an eye on each other on the water. That was a prime example today that you really need to pay attention to what's happening with other people. Enjoy the rest of the footage. Rock on. I'll see you on the water next time.